Bravo is defending Brandon, saying the club is business. When they go to the club is business, the showcase is going to happen. Brandon says that they are jogging and he's sprinting and she's slowing him down. She says that's bull junk. He says that she's oblivious to the shackles that she puts on him. He says that she's fighting for her public image. Then he screams to everybody, she's not insecure. She's not insecure, everybody. Now, this is the moment that everybody in the room realizes that this is fucked up. Because before then, you had Anthony and Bravo arguing Brandon's point for him to his wife. Yet again. Like, you really, like, you're doing this in a I want to hurt you manner. And that's when, all of a sudden, Anthony's like, come on, you got to chill, bro. You got to chill, bro. Christina says that if she's to blame, she will take the blame. Like most women, for some reason, once you beat us up hard enough, we'll just be like, you know what? You right. I'll take it. And then Bravo, oh, no, it's not that. Then what the fuck is it then? If you don't want her to just take the blame, then what is it then? What exactly are you asking of her? Ask yourself that. What are y'all asking of Christina? Because Christina is not controlling anything that Brandon is doing. Brandon didn't come home this episode. Christina is not controlling anything that Brandon is doing. But you know what she is? She's the scapegoat. She's Eve. They're Adam and Eve, and she's Eve. It's all her fault. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. This need, do y'all see the need to blame women for everything? That comes specifically from Christianity, Judaism, the Adam and Eve story. Oh, yes. The Adam and Eve story that they tell you that blames women for the decisions of men. Because Adam couldn't also look and see, bitch, where you got that apple from off what tree? Didn't God tell us not to eat that, bitch? Knock that shit out her hand. He says that she's not the most supportive person. The woman that helping you do the branding for the client that you had, that you probably made her form a relationship with that girl, she don't support you? Oh, okay. She says, where's her career? What about her? She was supposed to do fashion, but she's been at home with their kids. Anthony is now saying that they have her back. We have your back. You're my sister. We have his back. Stop lying. This entire time, y'all have been dragging Christina over the coals for what Brandon has been telling y'all. Y'all have been his mouthpiece, beating his wife up verbally, to get her to acquiesce to not being upset or feeling a way about him going to the club. Because we know she's not physically stopping him from doing anything. You can't dictate that. Just know, if he continues not to reach the success that he wants to reach, you're always going to be to blame for it. Like, I don't understand why women don't see some, like, the patterns. To me, once a man has presented this amount of information to me, I can pretty much attest to the fact that he's not going to change. And any changes are only going to be a form of manipulation so that he can continue to get what he wants to get out of me. She says that she wasn't insecure when she met him, and she's not now. Anthony was looking for an excuse to touch Brandon, talking about, come on, bro, this is your queen, bro. You ain't gonna convince me I ain't saying what I'm saying. I know what I'm saying. Latoya is embarrassed, but you should be, because you should have got control of your husband as soon as he started talking crazy to Christina's friend. But what did you do? You put your head down. So now that this is blown up, don't be embarrassed. Don't be upset now, Latoya, because you enable this shit. You sit there quietly and allow your husband to keep arguing with women in such a way. This is why I don't like when men argue with women like this. It's different when we have conversations and disagreements. It's a whole nother thing, the way men like to go in on women for the simplest of things. That lady asked you a question and you proceeded to call her a child and a bird, all from a question. That's out of pocket. That's imbalance. That's not equal. That's uncalled for. Latoya should have got her husband together. At that moment, he made a fool of her and himself at her wine tasting. You want to talk about Latoya? Because it felt like Latoya didn't get mad up until the point that Brandon and Christina fully turned her wine tasting into the stories. And you want to get mad at that moment. You should have been mad when Anthony decided he wanted to take another opportunity to scream at Christina about the way she deals with her cheating, lying, narcissistic, gaslighting ass, disrespectful little husband. All I see is a whole bunch of smart, extremely capable women being totally blind to their own power and acquiescing and giving it over to men who are too out of control, too untrustworthy, too fickle for them to be giving it to them. You can't leave me nowhere but out my car and through the door when you open it and down to my seat when you pull it out. But we ain't about to like acquiesce to you leading in life. Sounds like slavery. And Brandon finally decides to hop in and jump on the bandwagon of bullying his wife publicly. That's what I'm talking about. Any man that needs help to bully you publicly is a... Ain't no need. Ain't no need for further evidence. And the fact that Christina is going to turn around this episode and say that she won't leave him, she will always try to fix her marriage, he's going to have to leave her. Ma'am, If you want to be abused in this life, is that if that's what you want to show your children, if you want to show your kids you being abused by their daddy and blindly agreeing to it with intention and indignation that you won't leave him, no matter how disrespectful and how hurt you are, no matter how disrespectful he is and how hurt you are, you still are telling us that you're never going to leave this relationship. He's going to have to leave you. He don't like you, Christina. He don't like you. Anytime he's going and talking to his homeboys every chance he get about how terrible you are, talking to the girl he was cheating on you with about how terrible you are, treating you like shit in front of people, girl, that man do not like you. And I hate the fact that you love him so much because he's your husband. Girl, so fucking what? Stop thinking these labels mean shit. These labels don't mean nothing if these people are not doing what is required. Being a husband means nothing. Nothing if you are not a husband of value. And a lot of y'all are barely of value. Barely. He must have a ding-a-ling of gold, of gold, of gold, of gold. Yes. Yo, I'm going to tell you right now, I think Kobe needs to divorce Russell as well, to tell you the truth. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the way he is treating her trauma around being a preacher's kid and going behind her back to her parents, and then her parents knowing what was going on and not telling her, that was a betrayal, and she's letting it skate. She's letting it skate. But I would have been looking at my parents and him as if I could not trust them. And you can't, because they will all commune together to decide your fate and keep you out of it. And then turn around and tell you that your response to their betrayal is the reason why they betrayed you. Y'all, I, first of all, looked at the daddy and instantly was like, you were a hoe. Looked at the mama. You resent him for being a hoe, but here you are, brainwashed and pressuring your daughter to follow down the same brainwashed, miserable ass road you're down. But I'm going to tell you probably what it is. A lot of y'all get off on being revered in churches. First lady, pastor, people praise y'all. People look up to y'all. People give y'all admiration. And I feel like y'all love that feeling more than you love doing right by your kids. Because as a mother, I'm looking at her mom like, so even after the life that you suffered through, you would still keep something like that from your daughter. Because she knew too. I don't like the constant aligning of what the men want to do with what God has told them. And the fact that nobody sees the lie, nobody sees the disingenuousness whenever somebody says, well, if that's what God called them to do, it's a lie. It's something that you want to do. Now, your reasons for wanting to do it, I would love to know. Because let me tell you something. When you really are called to do something, that's not something that just pops up overnight. And for you to keep it from Kobe, even with all of those conversations about the way she felt about being a preacher's kid, to me, you were trying to trick her. And that's what you did. And her parents are co-signing and going along with the tricking of their daughter to be a preacher's wife, even though that is not what she wants for herself. And when they turned around and told her that the reason why he didn't tell her is because of the way she responded, as if there was something wrong with her response. Oh, Lord. She even said, he's already stretched thin. That means that he's already making himself unavailable to her in some respect. She already has times where she needs him to be at home, but he's so fucking busy somewhere else. That is the breeding ground for when he's cheating on her. For him to say it's because he's at church. He's so busy. He's already stretched thin. And I would like to say, well, Latoya's daddy told her, God is not the author of confusion. So for two parents who are pastors, who preach the word, and the word speaks heavily on not lying, and y'all proceed to lie to Kobe about this situation until Russell decided to tell her. So you're going to go against the word of God to protect this man, correct? Correct? So whenever y'all are ready to be real about this shit, then we can talk. Because y'all not being real about none of this shit. But this is the thing that really made me mad in that scene with Kobe is when her dad said she needs to recognize how this may be hard for Russell. This may be hard for Russell to tell her. And she needs to think about how hard it is for him to tell her the truth. And I feel like, why should she do that? She should consider, why is it so hard for my husband to tell me the truth, especially about something that's supposed to be a good thing? If the church thing is really coming from a space where, baby, I really do feel like this is my calling, this is a good thing, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, there would be no shame and there would be no need to lie about it. The fact that he needed to lie about it should let you know that not only can you not trust him with things that are supposed to be perceived as good, but you can't trust him when things are bad, because he'll not tell you those things out of fear of your response as well. Because that would have been like, okay, so now I need to understand that because my husband fears my response, he will lie to me about everything. Brandon and Anthony talk on the phone. This was a very interesting conversation. He tries to blame his words at the wine tasting on the wine. He says he's over everybody. They didn't have his back. It's fuck everybody. I said, not you getting on the phone and employing the same manipulation that you use on your wife with your friend. Not you getting on the phone with Anthony and instantly guilting him about not having your back when he was the main one speaking up on your behalf, unjustifiably so. He should not have to speak up for you against your wife. That is some weak nigga shit. And the fact that you called him talking about is fuck everybody because nobody had your back when everybody had your back against your wife. It's just that your wife's cries were not going to be sullied because of it. You wanted your wife not to say anything. Bravo was telling Christina what she needs to do in her marriage. Anthony was telling Christina what to do in her marriage. And then you turned around and said that she doesn't support you in front of a room full of people that don't even fucking know her. So you basically called her a bad wife, an unsupportive wife, which is all y'all believe wives are supposed to be, is supportive. So if she's not doing that one thing of being supportive to you, then she's not a good wife. You said that in front of a room full of people. Now you're going to turn around and use that same manipulation on Anthony. And I wonder why. As I've been saying, Brandon knows how Anthony feels about him. So he manipulates him to use him, to get him to fight his battles and for his connections in the music industry. He tells him that he's staying at the other crib, so he hasn't talked to Christina. And Anthony is like, bro, you need to go home. What's wrong with you? He tells him that he loves them. He loves Christina. He loves their family. And he remembers that Christina helped him out of a depression. I guess he had a group he was managing, and one of the group members got pregnant, and he went into a depression. I said, oh, is that why he went into a depression? Or because he was fucking the group member, and she got pregnant by somebody else? I was like, not her coming into your life and making your life better, and now you going around telling everybody how you can't stand her. That revitalized him. And now all he's done is put a baby in her and suck everything from her when she came into his life and gave him what he needed to get back up on his feet. Now she's the blame. Ain't that some shit? Now she's the blame for why he hasn't been able to do more. When at the end of the day, it was always his fault. It was your fault while you were in the situation you were in before you got with her. And it's your fault now. But the fact that you've never had to pick your own self up because this woman came along and picked your ass up. Here we are with her being a scapegoat. She should have let you pick your own self up. Don't marry no nigga after 6 months when he was just depressed. Nah, nigga, you need to be okay on your own first. Be a friend, bitch. Don't get with him, okay? But that's how you know niggas be lying. They don't be telling girls everything that's going on. He did the same thing when he went to Atlanta, and he was ignoring Latoya and the kids, and ignoring what they were going through. And the kids were in school dealing with racism, and it was too much. And he encourages him to get back with her. Let me tell you something, Anthony. You stay talking out of both sides of your fucking neck, and I'm gonna need for you to figure it out. Because right now you're telling us that you ignored your wife. Later on, you're going to tell us that you did everything right and she was just mad because you was gone and she realized that she couldn't make it without you. So now you had to come back and sacrifice your career for her. When at the end of the day, what it sounds like is you made a selfish decision that did not have your wife and children in mind when you made it. And your wife said, if you're going to continue to be selfish, then you can be by yourself. You decided to come back because you didn't want to be by yourself. You don't really want to have to be out there by yourself because then that would probably have to force you to be honest with yourself. And you don't want to do that. You're very comfortable using Latoya to get to the successful heights that you want to get to while probably hiding who you truly are. But now you're going to resent her and remind her every chance that you get that she kept you from following your dreams. Oh, okay, nigga. Okay. That's when somebody talking out of both sides of their neck. Telling your homeboy that you was ignoring your wife, but then getting in front of us on that fucking boat and crying like a bitch about how nobody supported me. I just want somebody to support me. When I see men overdoing it so that they can emotionally manipulate women, oh, I am absolutely going to call you a bitch. But understand, it's because I feel your tears are manipulative and not sincere. Anthony and Latoya go on a date. Detroit is so great. He's going back to Atlanta again, and he knows how Latoya doesn't like that. She says, will you please stop saying that? I don't have an issue with Atlanta. I have an issue with you moving there when it wasn't the time. She says he packed up his things and got a new house. He moved. She says they are not fine right now, but he thinks they are. I need to know when he came back. I need to know the time frame. She says that he's arrogant as a man, and he can do what he wants, but leaving her alone with their boy children dealing with racism wasn't the way. She gets very emotional talking about how her kids were dealing with racism. And as their dark-skinned father, she felt like he needed to be there to help them. He feels like he would have been able to help the children whether he was in Atlanta or not. And I'm like, no, you wouldn't have. Do you not understand what presence and energy means? And if I was her, I would be like, you're going to have to make a decision. Either you're going to have to be at peace with being here and being back here, or you can go back to Atlanta and we can go ahead and just co-parent. Make a decision. But you're not going to beat me over the head every fucking day because I felt like the pandemic wasn't the time for you to go to Atlanta and leave me and your children here when they were going through so much. And I have to be at work most of the time because I'm a doctor and it's the pandemic. Kobe and Russell go do some physical activity so she can be turned on. I think he always wants them to do physical activities because whenever he's doing something physical, it's a distraction for her because she thinks he's beautiful and he knows that. So yeah, physical activity so she can be turned on enough to ignore how much disloyalty just took place in her family. He's grateful her father gave her his perspective of how hard it was for him to tell her that he decided to join divinity school. He wants to be a pastor. He said that up out of his mouth. She said, I thought you wanted to be a chaplain. He was like, well, yeah. I said, girl, he's going to make you a pastor's wife. He is. Honestly, it sounds like he might eventually try to replace your fucking daddy. Yeah, that's going to be you in a minute, girl. Get ready. He says that she's not the cheerleader he was hoping for. God won't lead us to a place he hasn't prepared us for. There you go again, using God as a reason to validate lying and tricking your wife into a life that she did not want. Fucked up. Anyway, Latoya and Anthony go on a boat ride with two of their friends. Detroit is beautiful, but he tried to leave for Atlanta. He didn't leave. He was just making business moves. Anthony says he was in Atlanta to get into TV and movies. I said, oh, did you meet Carlos during that time? He wants to tell Detroit stories. He heard from his parents and Latoya's parents that he wasn't listening to God on this. See, apparently Latoya's parents and his parents have sense when it comes to God. They realize that if it's really about the family, God is not going to tell you to make a selfish decision like leaving your wife and your children and moving to another state for 8 fucking months during a pandemic. That's a selfish decision. God not going to tell you to do that. Okay? So she says, this fool just left. He says, you know he did something wrong. When she said he just left, he said, no, you didn't. Not in great detail. He knew he didn't tell her in great detail and that he was also ignoring her when he went down there. But then he proceeds to tell her that their grandfathers and great-grandfathers didn't have to tell their moms. No, you not using back when women didn't have rights as a time period that we should be fashioning ourselves after. It doesn't matter what her father and grandfather did with her mother and grandmother. That doesn't matter because we are in a different time. So, because we are not in the 50s and we are in 2023, because we are not in the fucking 70s, we are in 2023, and I am a doctor and I have some type of autonomy in this relationship because I have the money, I make the money. You are not going to do me the way your grandfather or father may have wanted to do his woman because she depended upon him. I do not depend upon you in that way. That's why. She should have explained that to him. But instead, she does a Kimmy. You swallow it, you shake your head, you say what you want to say, but it really makes no impact because you allowed him to get his foolish statement out while patting you on your hands as if you're a fucking child. Once he starts talking about how her father, who she says, I feel like my dad is pretty level, and my dad said that God doesn't operate in confusion, and this was confusion. You not being honest, you not being forthcoming was confusion. Then the woman of the couple that they're on this boat ride with says that her father can be biased. I said, oh, pick me. Let us know you're a pick me. Let us know you're a pick me. Let us know. Okay? Because her father isn't biased. Her father has her best interest at heart, as he should. Why the fuck would her father have this nigga's best interest at heart when his best interest does not coincide with his daughter's best interest? That's how you know y'all just expect men to go along with men regardless of your relationship to the woman. And that is fucked up to me. So no, I'm absolutely here for Latoya's daddy, speaking up for what was right, regardless to what y'all want to act like God told this man. Fuck out of here, ma'am. You and your braids can sit back on your granddaddy looking ass husband and just don't give us no more of your pick me wayward opinion on this situation talking about her daddy was biased. What? He start crying. I need your mom. I need your sister. I need your family to be on my side. I need everybody to be on my side. Not your side, my side. Your mama, your sister, your daddy, everybody need them all to be on my side. I just need everybody to be on my side because I'm always on your side. I'll do anything for you except not go and live for 8 months in Atlanta. I'll do anything but that. This is what I wanted to hear from you. Oh, so he shows you emotion and now all of a sudden, what? What'd that mean? What'd that mean? He's sensitive. He's being vulnerable. That's what you think? You think he's being vulnerable? He's not being vulnerable. He's being manipulative. That's what he's doing. But okay, girl, do you.